Okay, we are back, and what I'm working on now is trying to kind of finalize the arrangement of the actual service facilities. Now they got the roundhouse turntable machine shop. They're all pretty well set. Now I want to work on this area, so I thought I'd capture my thoughts, since some people seem to actually enjoy my bamboline ramblings. So what I'm thinking of doing here, like on the steam side, I think I'm pretty well set. You got your cinder hoist for those locomotives that come in and do that. Not a lot of them do. Most of the steam power that comes in here just kind of comes in, gets coal, water, sand, turns around and leaves. This is more for, if anything, that's assigned here, which this late in the game is probably just going to be an H10 that is used to switch or to shift the coal yard, and a C1 080 that may be used on the other side, and for the local industries and whatnot. Although they're being supplanted quickly by diesel power as well. All right, so they come in. A lot of them are going to skip this, except for maybe the two that are assigned here. We'll get coal. So you got room here for the coal cars on the pit. Look them down. They'll get sand. I'll explain my thoughts on this in a moment. Water spouts back here. They can get water. They can go turn around if needed. I guess it depends which direction they're heading. Whether they're going east or west, whether they got to take a spin or not. But they probably could come on the turntable, do what they have to do, and then come back out on a ready track, which can be this track over here or here. I'm calling this the relay track. I don't know why. It sounds kind of cool and railroady. So they could sit, on either of those two tracks and wait. Again, most of them spin, and if the yard master's doing his job and their train's ready, they're out of here relatively quickly. So that's that. And then for diesels, what I just kind of did was kind of figure out where I'm going to put the servicing for the diesels. Now, my thoughts are, and we have our little handy-dandy set of F7s here. Excuse me while I turn my throttle on. And this is going to be set up for, let's see, these are working. Yay. Alright, so the diesels come off a train. He comes into the pad. Where's my headlight? There it is. And then he's going to be sitting about here. Now right there, and I'll have the fuel set up so you can fuel 2 units at once. Actually, maybe 3, but a lot of my power is going to be 2 unit sets, AAs or ABs, then some Jeeps and whatnot as things go along. So, but at least be set up so they can fuel 2 units at a time. And then from there, so what they did when they built this facility, what they decided to do was add this. This is a Fairbanks Morse 15 cubic yard sand tower. Hey, it's one I had, so I'm going to use it. This is the original one. So for steam power, this side here still has the straight up and down one there for the sand, to fill the sandbox on a steam locomotive. I might get rid of this stuff here. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you do that in the real world. If you just had this, would you actually not have this? So in the future they're going to have that, but anyway, that's years away. Then on the other side, okay, they're going to have the normal sanders on both sides, so they can sand diesel locomotives. So this was a new addition. They decided to keep this because it was there and it works, so they just kept it for now. So a steam locomotive can either sand here or here. And then there's the water plugs. Again, to get water for the steam locomotives. So once the diesel gets his go-go juice, he would then move up. And again, not all diesels are going to need sand, but he's really cruising. He would come up. Where the heck are the sand hatches? I think the one's there. Anyway, so you could say you got to sand the A unit or the lead unit or whatever. So then he sands up. Okay, does his thing. Now when he's done, he can move up to here, and this can kind of be a ready track spot. Yeah, I know it blocks the turntable access, but he doesn't need the turn. A lot of the diesels won't. Alright, so he comes up and he can sit, he can clear the pad area, still pull up nice and tight there, but still have access for the other tracks to get there. So he can sit there on the ready track. Or, it depends what's going on. You know, he could take a hop on the turntable, move over 1 or 2 tracks, and again, go to the outbound track or the relay track. Or back into the machine shop lead. I guess he could sit there if he really had to. Or, depends what's going on, but he could also pull over and sit over here on the supply track lead. So there's things that there's things we can do. And it's not like this terminal is all that busy where you're going to have, locomotives at the yin-yang. It just isn't going to be that way. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Back here, I did add this. This, I'm going to say, is, that's my weigh scales building that I built. Obviously we're not in weigh scales, but that I'm going to use it kind of as a shop stores type of building. So I had this kit from before, and I like it, I want to use it. So I figured, okay, so at the far end here, a supply track, this can be for shop stores. A box car of, drums of lube oil or something like that, or whatever supplies you might get. They can come off, they can go right in this little storage shed here. And that's for that. And then, of course, you got the sand, which feeds the old and the new. Then you got the coaling tower, obviously, which does its thing. The cinder hoist, which does its thing. And then somewhere in here I could put some diesel fuel. So maybe down in here, although I'm not sure how they unload and that kind of stuff. I have to look at that. And then again, if this power, if not a whole lot going on, you can pull up here. And I just kind of noticed while he's moving, where I painted gray at the joint. This is going to be access, right? So so the guys can walk over safely and get to the diesel area. This might be access to one end of the ready tracks. This is access to the other end of the ready tracks, just different places. So if you're pulling a set of power up, alright, so he comes up and he sits right here. I'll put his ladder right where you, ba-boom. Alright, then they can clamber down, and if I have, this can be like a little crew rest area where they can go in and, get a refreshing beverage and chill out for a little bit, waiting for the next call. Get a ride to the hotel or whatever they're going to do. And that actually would be, if you're working, operating a layout, and you got to wait a little bit, you go over to the crew lounge, which is on the other side of the other room. You can actually get a beverage, watch a DVD of train videos, get some snacks until you get called to come hop on your power and get out of town. So that's my thought, and I think what would have happened eventually, obviously the steam stuff would go away. They probably would have expanded this probably in the future. The turntable gets filled in, that all gets raised. Maybe they keep that, but up out of here would be a diesel shop if they're gonna keep the open. So a much bigger diesel shop. So that's what would happen, and then they probably would expand and have the sanders for both sides. Even add another one. All this other stuff goes away because it's not needed. I think the first thing that would go will be this, because I heard they're really dirty and nasty and gnarly. So alright, anyway, so that's my plan, and what I'm working on here, or what I'm going to do I want to get these in and set. I don't have all of the fuel stuff yet, and whatever else in the valving. I'm working on that, but if I get this in, what I'm going to do is use this. This is actually some of the same task board that was extra out of that kit. Pretty nice material. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use some of the Monster Model Works concrete on top of it, which is this, because I like the way that works. I can color it well. I just like it. So I'll glue it to this, kind of laminate it, glue it to this, set it, then glue the whole thing down. Then be able to come back in and ballast and scenic and get this, at least get this stuff done. I can get this in, everything else can go in, I need to be careful. I'm going to be working back. I'm going to add lights as well. You know, lights for the guys working. This I might just set in here for now so I can move it in and out until I really get this done. But this is kind of the way I'm thinking this area is going to look. Shop stores, unloading, sand, coal, cinders, ash, tanks, crew rest, diesel servicing. Mostly initially on this track, but they'll be able to service both tracks. This will be for the guys on the other side just to walk around and do some, you know, inspections. Unfortunately, I couldn't put a pit in here just the way. Got some poor planning. I've got underneath bench work going where I don't want it to go, so I couldn't. I would have probably had a nice pit in here. It's on one track, but whatever. Later in the future, perhaps. Not for me, for the real railroad when they expand. So, all right. So that is what I'm thinking about here. So, just get that down, and I'll come back when I get this further along and ready to go and scenic, and we'll see how things look. What have we here? Here's a quick little segment. Here's a fun little diversion. I've been on a shed quest recently, just trying to get, you know, little sheds and outbuildings and, you know, pump houses and storage areas, just for mostly for the engine service area. But you need these all over the railroad. So I came up with this one here. This is actually a little resin kit. It's put together terribly. What I really did kind of a wacky job on this. What it started as, permit me to zoom and adjust my f-stop. This, whoa, can you see that? This is an Architect kit. I like their kits. They're resin kits. This is a transformer kiosk. It's European in design, prototype. I think probably French. I like the look of it. I had it for my old layout, my old layout, the second previous layout when I was modeling European stuff. It's a cool building. I liked it, but when I looked at it, it's just a little bit too tall. So what I did, I said, well, I'm going to play around with this. I cut it right here, right above this brick lintel here, or whatever it is. Right there, I cut it and said, I'm going to cut it. I'm going to bring the roof down, glue it on, and see what the heck it looks like. So that's what I did. I still have the top parts that maybe I could play with somewhere, you know, do something else if I want to. I just liked it. You know, it's got a cool, nice little industrial steel-looking door and everything. So this is it. Now, the fit up of this was terrible. I spent way too much time sanding, trying to get the corners, and I still don't think they're right. It's really kind of a sloppy assembly. You can see the roof doesn't fit that great. I don't know if you can see how it's angled there. And somewhere, yeah, right there, I have a huge... You see that gap? It's like, yeah, master craftsman at work. But I'm not worried about it because you're not really going to see that. So what I did was I go ahead, slapped it together with some super glue. And then I used some zip kicker to set things up. Again, the joints are not really good, but I don't think you're really going to notice it because I'm going to paint it red and, you know, weather it up. Because again, it isn't a steam era terminal, so it'll be kind of gunked up. The roof looks kind of neat. I don't know if you can see that with the... Anyway, so I'll paint that a nice grimy black color. Paint it red, paint the door a nice dark greenish. Weather everything up. And I think it'd be a good little... You know, I'm thinking like a pump house or... lift station or a little storage shed. I don't know. This is supposed to be a light, that little protrusion there. I know what it looks like. It's not that. It's a light. I might leave it on there and just paint it, you know, a green color. Because it actually does have a wire for it and everything. Simulated, of course. So, that's that. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a blast of this Tamiya surface primer. This... like a zinc chromate. What do they call it? Oxide red. Kind of a nice brickish color. So I'll give that a blast, and then I'm not going to do a whole lot of, spend a whole lot of time on it. Paint it up and weather it. I made another little pad just out of some styrene for this. I figured this could be in the diesel area. This can be, I think it looks like a nice, I don't know, lube oil tank or number 4 bunker oil. I don't know, something like that. It looks kind of neat and tankish. So I'm going to go ahead and get that. I'll prime that as well. Probably just a light gray, and then I'll paint it with chalk white later and weather it up. But I like that. That's a pretty nice looking little tank that I added a little vent to, and there's a valve on the front of it, and hose that comes out. So I think that'll fit somewhere in the engine service or diesel area. So, alright, so let's, no promises what this is going to look like. It certainly doesn't look that great from the assembly side. But, alright, we'll see. We'll see next time you see this, and maybe we'll run the layout. I'm not going to do a whole lot more on it. Just wanted to say, what I'm trying to do is use up stuff I have. I have so many kits and buildings, and where applicable and where I can modify them, I want to use them. Because, I spent the money on them. And some of them are European and prototype, but if I can do things like this and modify them and make them look like a lift station, a pump house, a storage shed, something like that, something cool and industrial, that's even better. So, alright, enough babbling. Let's see what eventually what this thing looks like when I get it done. Alright, just for fun, just a little in progress here. I've been working back here in the engine service area, doing some more detailing. Adding some various accoutrements. I can put that one water spout right there, water column. That way you can serve those 2 tracks and have one at the other end. Got the sand house in. On the other little building there, kind of like a little office. It actually was I was at the Erie train show, shelling stuff. And the guy behind me, we got talking. The vendor behind me, and he was a nice guy, and I bought... I think I bought 1 car off him, and I said, well, how much for this little building? He goes, just take it. So I weathered it up, painted the windows, and away we go. Everything else is here. I'm going to wait to do some more work in here. I got to figure out how I want to do the fuel piping and whatnot. I don't really like the Stewart stuff and the custom or the commercial available. So I might be doing some stuff to scratch build some things there. There's that little top of the transformer building placed. I have another oil tank back there for, I don't know, lube oil or something. I don't know. They're just like slapping it in there. So I think that looks alright. That little shed there looks pretty nice, I think. It just looks like kind of like a little utility type building that would be everywhere. Alright, that's the same. That's got some more, again, some more of the real ash from the Bessemer and Lake Erie locomotive around it. I put this water column up at this end so they can serve this track and the other track. I did add, this is just that Walther's, I don't know, office building that I built years ago. I actually have an article about that, about doing the roof in Model Railroad Hobbyist. Yeah, there you go. Long time ago. That's kind of like the Crew S building. When the guys come up and set the power here, they can wander into here, get a refreshing beverage, which is actually, in real world, walking next door to the crew lounge. And then I started ballasting this. I wasn't going to, but I said, you know what, I got to do it. And this takes forever. I really hate ballasting. I mean, I did from roughly here, about 3 feet, out to about here. Now, it was the ladder and all the turnouts, and that's what takes a lot of time. It took me like 3 hours to get it all down, and some more time to get the glue in. Anyway, I'm just whining, but so that's done. This section here I just did. It was a straight section, so that was pretty easy. Actually, a little bit more enjoyable. Although I did add in these 2 turnouts to get them done, and then I ran out of ballast. So, I can't do any more. What a bummer. But no, so I have some more ordered. I do like the way that Scenic Express dark gray number 50 ballast looks. I just think it looks right. Now I do come in and add some other stuff on top. You can't really tell here because it's wet, but I do use my custom ground blend in there, which is a little bit darker, dirtier stuff. And I added, I don't know, a pile of stuff here. I figured, in a yard like this, there's probably all kinds of stuff dumped along the tracks. And I'll come back and add some coal as well. I don't really have any coal. Alright, so that's that. There's the selection of goodies for various track ballasting and other scenic delights. I do have here, I have a fuel tank that I'm working on, trying to get the appropriate supports for it. It was an old Walthers one, I think from the Walthers kit, their diesel service area. But I lost the support, so I had to scratch build that. So that's in progress now. So I'll set that there. That's where the diesel fuel comes in to serve the new diesel area. And that's that. Alright, so we'll keep working along. What I may try to get to next, since I got ballast drying and I'm out of ballast, is getting this control panel done. It's done. I just need to get all the devices back in, which is basically just switches and LEDs, and get it wired up. And that way I control the turnouts at this end, which I can't do now. So this may be the next big thing we get working on. So alright, there we go. More to come as we continue our progress here. Alright, I figured I'd just show these, since I think I might have mentioned in an earlier segment. I can't remember, but I'm kind of looking for a bunch of sheds, and I've been out, trying to find some everywhere, eBay and stores and here and there. And I came across these. I just got them in. I just built them today. These are really kind of exactly what I was looking for. See, just a little square, well, rectangular, little shed, little, brick, whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's a pump house. It's just it looks cool. And they have a smaller version of it. This all came in the same kit. I'll show you the kit in a moment. And then I just kind of weathered it up. These are about inch wide, but that one's about 1.25 inches, and this one's about 2.5 ish, something like that. They have another one that's got a little bit of a cool looking front door on it. So I got those all weathered up. Now these are actually from Faller, German company. Here's the kit. That might be too glary to see. Now they're actually called 3 brick transformer stations. The kit number is 120-239. You can see the 3 buildings right there, and obviously they're a lot cleaner than mine, because I mucked them up quite a bit, because they're probably going to be in a steam era servicing area, in a layout somewhere, so they're going to be pretty dirty. So I like those. These are perfect. These are exactly what I was looking for. I bought these from, where did I buy these from? Macro Mundo, which sounds weird, but that is the name of the place. That's actually, I think, RocoUSA.com as well. But they're down in Florida. I think they're in Miami. They have some of the best prices that I've found, especially on things, like the European kits, Faller kits, Volmer kits, Prizer figures, really good prices. So I ordered them up, and here they are. I ordered another kit as well, because I saw it. Haven't built it yet. And again, that's a little bit more modern looking. Actually, these are all more modern, but I'm just kind of backdating them. So that's kind of a nice little, and again, another one, a little bit larger. And the thing that's cool about both of these kits, and this kit is 120-215, electronic signal tower. It's just basically like a little shed. If I can show you this, if these show up, if this shows up, they actually have the mortar lines already in the brick. Again, I don't know if it's going to show very well on camera, because I got some less than ideal lighting. Now, when I mucked it up a little bit, it kind of faded that, but it's kind of neat. It's already there. You don't have to put the mortar lines in. And in fact, this kit even has the roofs are weathered a little bit already. So that's kind of neat. I'd never seen that before. So kudos to Faller for that. So those 2 kits I really liked and had them built up. And I just got another one in. This is by Auhagen, another European company. German, I believe. This is a track inspector's house, and you can see that it's just perfect. It's a perfect little shed. Now, I'm not going to use it as a track inspector's house. I'm going to, add the mortar lines, muck it up, dirty it up, grime it up. It's perfect. It's the good size. It's roughly, what's the size of this thing? Roughly 42 by 46 millimeters. So, rough order of magnitude, 1 and 3/4, roughly. Love it. It's a great little kit. So I picked this one up. This I got from Eurotrain Hobby. There's a couple other things I got as well, but not related to sheds. So that's it. And then I also, one more thing just to show you, just because it's kind of fun. This is another Auhagen kit. Now this is not really a railroad industrial type shed, just a little outbuilding. They call it, what's there? This is kit number 11408. And it's just a little, I'm going to use this, I think. I was thinking of something for the buildings in Fairview when I built those industries. Just some little outbuilding, just some little shed that was built, because they build these things everywhere. So that looked good, nice little kit. Again, you get it, you weather it up, it's going to look fine. So I picked that up as well. So, all right, that's that. So then again, did the just to reiterate what I did on, that's the Architect kit, the Transformer Kiosk that I shortened, and I showed you that in the previous clip. So there's things to do, things to find. And then when I go to a train show, I'll look for more. You can usually get some of the old Atlas and Model Power, Lifelike, little sheds like this for pennies on the dollar. And then some of them you can't save, but some of them can be weathered, painted, grimed up with powder and stains and whatnot. They look great. They're perfect for the layout. So really like these. Going to take them over now and see where I might be able to fit them in, because they look perfect. Just little, all those little ubiquitous sheds that just show up everywhere. So, all right. Just thought I'd show that just for fun. Alrighty then, here's a brief segment. Yeah, I know, like anything I do is brief. On what I'm going to do for the diesel fuel storage. I started off with, I have this Walthers, I think some of the Walthers kit. I have the tank, and I had this top portion of this pipe, and nothing else. I'd lost the supports that came with the kit and everything like that. So I said, oh, okay, it shouldn't be too hard to make. So the kit, or the tank itself, is pretty much the tank with a coupling and then the little addition to that pipe to fit down to the valve. That's a piece of, 22 gauge wire underneath there as a hose for loading the tank, I guess, from a tank car. I'm not really sure how these work, to be honest. And then what I had to come up with it was, to me, it didn't look right just to have a tank sitting there. So I said, well, they got to get the fuel over to the fuel pad somehow. So I said, okay, let's have a little fun. So I took this tiny little building that I mentioned in a previous segment and said, that looks like a nice little pump house or something like that. Little rectangular dude, looks good. So I said, okay, fine. So I made a new base, painted it my concrete color. I made these arch supports out of task board left over from an N-scale Architect kit. The arch wall, the curtain wall kit, I think is what they were from. Just kind of cut them out. They're not perfect, but they're going to work. Glued them on as vertical as I could. You can see they're not quite perfect, but eh. And then for the valve there, what that is, it's, boy, I've got a bunch of pieces I forget. Western Mountain models or something like that. I forget. Because I threw away the packaging. But they're basically valve kits. Now, I have no idea if that's the right kind of valve. I'm sure someone out there who's a fluid transfer expert will say you'd never use that kind of valve, whether it's a gate valve, a globe valve, a check valve, shingler rod valve, whatever the heck it is. I don't know. It just looked kind of cool to me. So I made it. You have to make the two flanges, the valve body, the stem, and the handle all has to be super glued together very carefully. Then I drilled a little hole into the pump house, put that in, added an elbow out here, another little tiny piece of tube inside another tube, glued that in here because I had to have this stationary in order to have any prayer of fitting this in. Because there's no way I was going to leave this all loose and fit this all up and get it on the layout. So that's why I kind of made, this base. Let me zoom back here a moment here. This base will be glued down then and covered with scenery. This is the concrete pad for the tank. This is the concrete pad for the pump house. So that's how that's going to look. And you can see I mucked up a little bit underneath where they would unload tank cars. I figured there'd be some spilt fuel and everything like that on the ground. Dirtied that up a little bit. On the end of this, I added some type of contraption. I don't really know what that is. It was in my little valve box. And I actually think it's a precision scale steam locomotive, some type of valve assembly. But you know what? It had two little valves. I built a little boss for it. So the valves went right against the wall of the building, painted them red. It had two little extensions, which aren't really pipes if you look really, really close. Get away, get away. But good enough for me. Some type of control piping or something, I don't know, look cool. So I threw it on there. Again, I make no claim that it's anywhere near what it should actually be like, but to me, I couldn't just plop a fuel tank without some way for the fuel to get over to the pad where they're going to fuel the locomotives. And they may even, obviously that stores, I don't know how many gallons that stores, but if the railroad wanted to have more, I do have another, I think it's one of the Walthers storage tanks, and I made another little styrene pad so I could put that in there somewhere and say, you know, okay, so it comes out of here. If the valve's closed, they can also fill up this tank. Now, there probably should be another valve down there because it wouldn't be that way. I understand that. But anyway, you know, good enough. And there's no real fuel going to flow through these lines. There's no real backflow or overflow or bursted pipes. I'm just, I want to do something that makes it look a little bit better than just a tank sitting there. So that's what I'm going to do. Take this over, I'll glue this down, weight it down, and then probably over on the layout, because I want to make sure this is down and flat, then bring the tank in, probably just put, maybe it's a little dab of super glue on each of the supports, a little dab of super glue in that fitting down there, set it all up, you know, get that held in there because there's a little bit of wiggle in it, and get it secured, and then boom. That'll be my diesel fuel storage facility. Now, whether I use this or not, I'm not sure, but I may. So, just thought I'd show that just for fun. Again, I just like the way that looks, kind of cool and valvey, and I think it at least gives you something to look at. And again, I don't claim to be any type of fluid transfer expert. I'm sure someone out there is going to say something about it, but you know what? It's good enough for me. Looks plausible. Looks like something could work. Again, I know there should be another valve down there probably because you wouldn't just let it flow. Anyway, but so what? So that's that. So that's going to be the diesel fuel storage facility that's going to be over on the edge of the layout, which I can't really show you installed right now because I'm wiring the control cabinet and I got stuff everywhere. So next update, you'll probably see that installed. Alright, back over here on the layout real quick. I was working on this darn video, and the last segment of this, and this video is freaking 32 minutes long. Like, how did it get to be 32 minutes? You heavy-breathing, babbling moron. All right, anyway, so here we are. I'm going to wrap this up, post it up. No pictures, no fancy-schmancy stuff. Just get it done, because it's already too long. But I did get, okay, so the water columns, I added those. Those are from Shorty's layout. I think the rest of this I talked about. Still waiting for the lights to do a whole lot more on the diesel fuel area, and I do need to figure out the piping and how I want to do that for the fuel and that type of stuff. Little lube oil tank added. I talked about that. That's the top of the transformer area. Some more of the, I don't know if I mentioned, I will mention this. See, I keep babbling. The ash that I used here is real ash. Scott Woods, if you saw his fantastic layout, his steel mill layout, one of the tours I just did, go look at it. It's great, and Scott's an awesome guy. I heard him talking to Bill about having some actual locomotive ash. So I said, ooh, could I get some? So he dug some out and sent it to me. And this is actual locomotive ash from a Bessemer and Lake Erie 210-4. What'd they have? I don't know. Anyway, I'm not a real expert on Bessemer steam by any stretch, but it's real ash. So if anyone says it doesn't look right, well, okay, but it's real ash. And I sprinkled some on the building. I added some inside Shorty's cinder hoist here, and okay, another water column installed. I talked about the fuel, diesel fuel area. Okay, yeah, it's going to go right here where this bag of crimps is. So you can see why I can't, because I'm starting to work on this menagerie of wires here. This is the control cabinet. I need to get this done. It looks terrible. It isn't that bad. A lot of it's just kind of hanging there now until I actually get in there and start doing some connecting. I have everything figured out, how I want to do it, stuff. But again, all my tools are laying up here, so I'm not going to put anything there until I'm done and cleared out of here. And everything works. Okay, so enough babbling, because now this will probably be 35 minutes long. Again, no pictures. We're just going to end this thing right now. Thanks for watching. And we'll come back. I got some travel coming up, so things might slow down a little bit. Just because I'm going to physically be gone for 3 weeks, a month. You know, here and there. I'll be gone for weeks at a time. So anyway, so we'll keep working away at this and posting as I can. And treating you to all the heavy breathingness and rambling, bambling you can take in at one video sitting. So, all right, so more to come, guys, as we keep working here on the layout.